Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh.
Frankincense and myrrh back in the day would have been a very luxurious and expensive item, so no wonder that the three magi presented these to baby Jesus. But having said that, I have been recently bitten with the tree resin bug, and I have no explanation why. You saw me use frankincense in my last video, and I added it to my soap recipe. Now, just to recap, frankincense it's a tree resin that comes from the Boswellia tree. One of the specific species is called Boswellia sacra. And I read I read an article which is basically a randomized double-blind study which says that one of the chemicals in these things called boswellic acid is actually very good for your skin. So I immediately tried incorporating that into the soap recipe. This is the final product that I made, batch 1. My wife really liked this. She uses this all the time nowadays. And she really liked it enough that she learned how to make soap. She didn't know how to, and she made these into fairly professional looking samples along with a wrapper and everything, logo and design, yeah. And she plans to give it away to friends and families just to get an impartial feedback as to how this is. I'm very excited definitely to find out. So that was my first experiment with frankincense. Turned out really well. The next closest relative to that is what is called myrrh, which is, let me take out a piece, which is this stuff here. Now, I got these from the Middle East from an actual brick and mortar store, so I can vouch for the purity of these. The product, the country of origin for this is actually Ethiopia, I'm told. This is myrrh. Now, myrrh is an entirely different kind of resin, and I have not had time to actually make soap with these. I just got them, and they come from the Commiphora tree, which is different. Now, this is actually not true myrrh. I got this online, and this is from India, so this is actually false myrrh. Or I believe the term is delum. Yeah, I think so. I'll have to check. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I'll definitely make some soap. And again, just like frankincense, if you burn these, you get a good smell. So they are purely used as incense. The reason why I was not too keen to add it to soap is because I could not find any literature as such that boasts of its medicinal qualities. So if I do add it to soap, it will just be as a test. I have no reason to believe that it will have any positive effect. The next tree resin that I tried was this. So this is actually pine resin. Now, unlike the rest, this is not an entirely natural product. I mean, it does come from pine trees, but in its natural form, it's sort of gooey, and that's because it has a solvent in it. So the solvent, we all know, it's called turpentine. So what they do is they collect that resin, distill off the turpentine, and you're left with these pieces of pine resin. Correctly, it's called rosin. It has few uses. Most commonly it is used as a flux in soldering. Now, I got this online, so it's not it's definitely not cheap, but it's actually a common ingredient in soap making. Not to make a better soap, it's just to use it as a cheap filler. Again, for me it's not cheap, so I will definitely not be using these, but I just made one batch as a test, and it's usable piece of soap, no doubt, but it's somewhat soft and sticky. I did read online, and that's exactly what it is supposed to be. Rosin soaps are supposed to be a little soft and gelatinous. And mind you, I only use this at about 10%. So I think I overdid it. I should not go above 5% or something. That's what the online wisdom says. But yeah, nothing remarkable about it. It's just soap. I certainly don't want to use this ever again. I do a lot of soldering, so I'll definitely be using these as flux in soldering. The next one is actually acacia gum. Unlike the remainder, all of them give off some kind of sweet smell when you heat this, including pine. This one has zero smell. It's actually edible. It's 100% edible. People use it as a health supplement. I have no idea what are the implications of that. But it's a water-soluble gum. So, very easy to add to soap. I just added about 10 grams of this, or should I say about 10% of this acacia gum in the lye solution, and I made a batch of soap. Very interesting result, and this is what excites me. So this is monsoon time here in India, and if you're trying to make soap in a very humid atmosphere of about, let's say, 95% humidity, you know the soap it doesn't dry and it tends to get soggy on you. So all these soaps eventually got pretty soggy and it took forever to dry. Not this one. So I think that the acacia gum can replace something like calcium lactate, which you add to soap, to maintain its firmness. I think from now on I will try a bunch of soap recipes where I will keep adding this at about 5 to 10% to see whether you can get a harder and a more long-lasting bar of soap. So that's my test with acacia gum. So the next resin in my list is something called as shal gum, and we generally call it as dhuna here in India. We burn these at religious ceremonies again as incense. I don't want to use this in soap making. The reason being, I have read some literature again that says it might cause contact dermatitis in some sensitive individuals. So as far as soap making goes, it's a big no-no. Again, I have uses for these at home. These are very good in making varnishes, something called as a damar varnish. By the way, this is also called damar in some form, or in some parts of the world rather. And what you do is you dissolve this in turpentine, and that makes an excellent picture varnish. So while I think this is a very interesting product, but unfortunately I don't want to use it at all in soap making. By the way, these come in various forms. So for example, this is, light yellow or almost white. I also got these. I think these are the same, these are from the same tree or the same species, only this one is black in color and this one is white. I did burn these and the smell is identical, so I have reasons to believe that although they are being sold online as different products, they are one and the same. And finally, the last ingredient in my collection is something called gum benzoin, which comes from the styrax tree. The biggest producers are actually Southeast Asia, Indonesia. A lot of it is traded through Singapore, and this one I spent the longest time online trying to source these. A couple of times that I did buy, I ended up getting a fake product. Of all the raisins, none of them have a very strong smell unless you burn them, but this one has a fairly noticeable smell even when it is in this lump form, and the smell is somewhat like chocolate or vanilla. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. And this obviously is used as incense. This is also used in the perfumery industry as what is called as a scent fixer. It sort of prolongs the time that the scent is perceivable. Is that the correct way to describe it? Anyway, yeah, look up the word fixer in perfume and you will get the idea. And although this I have reasons to believe is actually gum benzoin, but this is not 100% pure. It has something that was added to it in small pieces. Most likely these are actually pieces of some other tree resin, maybe damar, I am not sure. But what I have done is I can break off pieces. I can break off pieces such that I don't get these white inclusions, and I use it in soap making in very small amount, as about 0.5%. And the reason why I do that is it's actually a natural preservative. So if you have made soap and you have got those dreaded orange spots, which are basically oxidation spots due to the free oils, and you can certainly add something like sulfites or some preservatives or antioxidants, more correctly, to not have that. But I have realized that you can have the same effect if you add these in very small quantities. So yeah, so that's what I have added to my soap to use as preservative. So the soap that I was talking about, my wife made, actually has frankincense, a very small amount of gun benzoin to act as a natural preservative, and acacia gum, so that it produces a fairly long-lasting bar of soap, not like a bunch of other handmade soap which dissolves away very quickly. So that's our final recipe. I will certainly share with you. I cannot give you, I cannot send sample soap to all my viewers. I am sorry. I don't have that resource. I'm going to, as I said, we are going to give it out to some friends and family to get their feedback, and I will be very excited to share with you whatever feedback I have received. Okay, so that was a very quick update on what I've been doing in the last 2 weeks. I don't have a final recipe yet. I'm still testing and figuring things out, but I'm on my way there to make one recipe which is really a winner. Let's see. Wish me luck, and thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.